Okay, you just start recording. Oh.
So good afternoon, everyone present here. On the behalf of organizing committee of Institutions Innovation Council, S.B.Deorah College, I welcome you all uh, uh, to this session on problem solving and ideation. Uh, with this, um, I would like to share to this audience that for today's workshop we have with us our resource person, Mr. Parash Sharma. He is CEO and co-founder of 411 Fightwear, which is basically one of the first uh, company in India which deals with outfit for martial arts. He will today share with us uh, problems and how one can have like build up on startup. So before going to the this talk, first of all, I would like to invite our principal sir to say a few words.
Thank you, Sagar. I, on behalf of the college, welcome Mr. Parash Sharma, who has joined from Bangalore. He is the CEO of 411 Fightwear. 411 Fightwear, and he is the founder and CEO of that organization. And as Sagar has already explained, the purpose of the meeting is that problem solving and ideation. And as part of our various activities in the Institutions Innovation Council that we have been organizing, this is one of them. And we are very happy that today we have invited a very successful person to share his process of ideation, how the concept has developed, how he has developed this concept into a successful project, and what are the problems he encountered in the during the ideation and also during the process of implementing, and what steps he took in solving all those. I think we'll be able to know firsthand from him, Mr. Sharma. And without delaying, as we are already late by 10 minutes, I once again welcome Mr. Sharma to this problem solving and ideation session. This is organized by IIC of the college. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and let's start the main proceeding. Thank you. Over to Sagar.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So before starting the talk, I would also like to request our convener, IIC, Dr. Dhruvaji Das, sir, to say a few words, yeah, so that we can start after that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Sagar. As you all know, the creation of the Institution Innovation Council in the higher educational institutions is a government of India Ministry of Education's initiative, and which was launched in the year 2018. Our college has become a part of this initiative in the year of 2021. And since then, we have been organizing a series of programs. And today's program is the fourth in the series of the session 21 and 22. Basic objectives of, creating IIC in the institutions, in the higher educational institution, is to create an innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem in the college. So I am not taking much, time. So I am very happy that today's speakers, Mr. Parash Sharma, he has expertise. He's a CEO of a reputed company, and I am sure that his deliberation will benefit our students and faculty members. And I am also thankful to him for accepting our invitations. I'm also thankful to both the program coordinator of this today's program, Dr. Sagar Sharma and Dr. Jamini Buragahai for organizing this workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank
Over
you,
to
sir.
Sagar.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Parash Sharma to deliver his talk. Yeah. Parash, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you all. First of all, before starting, I would like to thank you, Principal Sir, Mr. Dharmender Sir, and our convener Sir, Dr. Dhruwajit Das, for allowing me to share some insights of the journey that I have gained and learnings that I have gained over these years. And I believe this is a wonderful opportunity for all of us to come to a single platform and share the learnings, whatever we have. With that, I would like to first introduce myself a little briefly. So, myself Parash, and after graduating from an engineering college, I joined a public sector under Ministry of Steel, where I worked for 9 years. And after that, I quit my job to start my journey of entrepreneurship. And it has been almost 4 years since we launched our startup, and there has been ups and downs, definitely in our journey. And apart from that, I am a finance and economics enthusiast and sports fitness enthusiast, which is our main theme of our startup. With that, let me share my screen to our presentation. Mr. Sagar, you have to enable me to share the screen actually.
Okay. Just let me. Or what I can do is that the option is not coming here. What I can do, I can share the slide from my side. Yeah. Just a minute.
Sagar, can you make Mr. Parash as
Host.
admin?
Yeah. I think that we can.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it. He will able to. Okay.
Yeah.
Then.
Okay. That will be convenient. Yeah. Now I think you can do it, Parash. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want this session to be a little bit interactive. So this is not a very typical presentation that I have made. This is more of a interactive presentation. So with that, I would like to start with the concept about problem solving. So whenever we have an idea, or whenever we want to solve a problem for anything, for any existing problem in the market or potential problem in the market, there are a few things that we often encounter, right? So but before going through those things, we are too much doubtful about the things that, okay, whether my solution are very genuine, or whether my solutions are very simple or complex or not. So when we started our journey, we also faced the same thing, because at that time when we found our problem, which I will come to later on, we also encountered few difficulties, whether are there any opportunities in these solutions or not. So what I want to convey is this: every problem solving idea need not to be very complex. Okay, it need not to be very innovative. If you if you have the vision that your solution can address the needs of the potential customers in the future, then that solution has also the potential to become a very successful solution, and thereby your startup can be successful. So I want to cite an example specifically for this. Like, you can see on the road nowadays electric vehicles, right? So this electric vehicle, the concept of electric vehicles is not new actually. It was way back in 1900 when Ford and all, they started this project, and there were actually electric vehicles being driven on the road in US. But then gasoline powered, which is basically petrol and diesel powered engines, came up, and they disrupted the whole motor industry. And when they disrupted the motor industry, people found it really convenient to have a long distance journey, and it was very effective. It was very power driven. So people found it a little bit more convenient than electric vehicles to have their journeys. And then commercialization happened. So, and then back in 1970s, when the problem of pollution, global warming started booming up, everyone was thinking that, okay, can this source of energy be made a little bit renewable or not? Because the oil reserve is very limited, and it is being depleted at a very fast rate. So, and then came the then came the projects like, Ford and other high rated companies, car companies. They started this electric vehicle concept projects, which was on pilot mode mostly. And then in 2010, when Elon Musk founded Tesla in 2000, it was a revolutionary thing, because he started everything that this project that we are thinking of, that right now is a pilot project, can be commercialized in a more effective way. And then he started accepting all these ideas and challenges and opportunities, right? So with that, what I want to convey is, whenever there is an idea, that idea need not to be very new, that idea need not to be very innovative. You see how electric vehicles have started back in 1900, and then it stopped, and then again the electric vehicles come, right? So that's why nobody started this idea before Elon Musk in a very large scale. So when you have an idea, it need not to be very innovative. So that's where the difference between idea and execution comes. So whenever you have an idea, you also have to it's a little bit excuse me, actually I'm getting a lot of admit requests, so it's a little bit distracting. I'm allowing them actually. Just a minute. Yeah, so back to the presentation. So whenever we have an idea, it's not necessarily to think that you have to have a lot of things before execution of the idea. Of course, a well planned idea with execution plan is very necessary, but you will never know until and unless you start executing that idea. So that's where the difference lies between an idea and execution. If you have an idea, you need a plan to execute it, and when you will execute it, you will know that okay, that idea has the potential or not. Coming to the next point, that whenever you have an idea, you also face challenges and opportunities. So challenges and opportunities are kind of two face of the coin. I mean, when there is a challenge, you also see some sort of opportunities in that challenge. This is how you have to look into every challenges that you face while running a startup or while trying to launch a startup. So with that, what I want to convey is, whenever you see challenges, you need not to be very much afraid, oh, there will be too much of challenges to launch a startup. People have faced numerous challenges in launching a startup, and they have become successful also. If I mean, there are, with the rise of internet, you can probably Google a lot of articles where you can see that a lot of people has been successfully launching their startups despite the challenges they are facing, be it from a regulation point of view, be it from legal point of view, be it from operational point of view. So you will never know that those challenges and opportunities until you start working on that idea. So an idea with an execution is very necessary to know the challenges and opportunities. And with that also, challenges and opportunities are also very important to learn from those challenges. And as you progress throughout the years, you will have a very effective tool system with you that you can share, and you can in the hindsight, you can actually look back and think that, okay, what are the things that you have done which were right, and what are the things that you have done which were wrong. Okay, so challenges and opportunities are really important in a startup because with that you can grow your startup progressively well. And when you have an idea, and suppose you are too late, like you are in your 30s or you are in your 40s, it need not be the case like that you are too late for to start an idea. Okay, I'm 45 years old, I am 50 years old, I should not have this idea, there are too much liabilities. An idea doesn't, age is just a number. An idea doesn't know that you are that old, right? So there are countless examples, of course, in the internet, in the industry, that you can cite, but I will cite one very famous example. Everyone has eaten, most probably, from KFC, who are non-veg people, of course. So Mr. Harlan actually started his journey at the age of 62. So when he started his journey at the age of 62, he never doubted himself that he would fail at this age, and he should be retiring at this age. People retire at 60, and on the other end, Mr. Harlan, he actually launched a startup at the age of 62, which is quite impressive, right? Same goes with J.K. Rowling, the famous writer of Harry Potter series, right? She earned millions and billions of money with her this series. Okay, but then she also faced a lot of challenges in the initial, when she started writing the series. Many of the publications, they rejected her story, citing it as unnecessary, childish, and all. But then I think in back in 1997, the publication started accepting her. I think, and then a movie came, and then she became a superhit, right? So what I want to convey from this example is that you are never late to start any idea or to execute any idea. It's just a myth that you are too old or you are too young to start any idea. It goes both ways. So now that you have an idea, the next question comes, that how to choose an idea or how to approach an idea. So what are the things that one needs to evaluate while choosing an idea. So this is not very exhaustive and this is not very comprehensive list. This is what I can infer from all these 4 years of experience that I have faced while starting this startup. So whenever we think of any idea, the first thing that should come to your mind is that do really people want this idea as a product, right? Because if your idea basically, most ideas has a product, right? If it may be the content idea, it may be any consumption idea, or it may be in terms of infrastructure in information technology. Any idea has a product. So when you have that product, basically you want to ask yourself, do people really want this product? Do people really has the need to consume this product? Because if the product does not have a market fit, then most likely that idea will not be a big hit in the coming future. Okay, so whenever you want to address your startup idea, first thing that you need to ask yourself that whether your idea has a product market fit or not, whether that product will be consumed by the people existing in this marketplace. How big is the idea? How big is the product? How big is the market? This all are the questions which comes a little bit later, after you find the idea that okay, your idea has the potential. Okay, and then the next question you have to explore is, okay, so you have got the idea, so has anyone explored this idea before? Or if it does, like what are the challenges they face, or and why this idea was not launched before? Maybe the idea is not working, maybe the idea is not working in the current market, or maybe the idea has no potential in the future. That's why many people are reluctant to start this as an idea. So these two questions are very basic thing that you want to ask. Okay, that you want to ask to people or to yourself whenever you want to uh, start a startup. Okay, after getting answers from yourself or maybe with your partner, that these two basic questions, next thing you want to explore, how do you tackle this problem? Like how do you want to approach everything? Like whether the approach has to be new, whether the approach has to be a better addition to the already existing solution in the market, or whether this idea or whether this product needs a little bit of innovation more than you have thought. Okay, so there comes the idea of USP, which is called unique selling proposition. Because if you have an idea and there are competitors in the market, people will definitely, as a consumer, we definitely want to get the best product at the best market rate and in the less possible time, right? These are the very three core things that any startup has to deal with. Because people want good product, people want a cheap product, cheap in the sense like a more economical product at the highest good quality, and people want the product very early. It's not like that you have to wait 6 months to get a fridge or some AC, right? So that's where the USP comes. Like, what is your USP, unique selling proposition that you are? If there are competitors in the market, you have to have some sort of trade-offs that you are providing to the consumer, that okay, if you want to use my product, here are the trade-offs. I have this, while the competitors does not have this. It may be anything depending on your market, depending on the industry in which you are in, or depending on the product that you are delivering. Okay, all those insights into those problems and solutions will help you form a very concrete structure of your startup, and that is very essential, let me be honest. Because a startup, although the idea may comes in the thin air with but you have to compile everything that you have thought of when you are very serious about the startup. Because when you start a startup and launch a startup, there will be a lot of challenges that you will face in the initial period that you have to tackle. And for that, you need a very concrete plan to tackle all those things. Okay. The last thing that I want to share is in this slide is that how dedicated and how passionate are you about this idea. If you are launching a startup just because everyone is doing it, then probably it's not a good reason to do it. Because whenever you start an idea or whenever you start something of your own, you will face a lot of challenges in your startup. Okay. But with that challenges, it might be sometimes very overwhelming that, okay, maybe that was a bad decision. Maybe that was a wrong decision. I should have studied, or I should have gone to a job, 9 to 5 job. That those all questions started, keep cropping up. So if you have that passion, if you have that dedication, like for your startup, then those questions become secondary to you, and you will be more focused on your startup. So it is very essential for you that you have to have that passion and motivation that you share with your partner, or maybe if you are alone in your startup, that you have to be very much excited about your idea. Okay. So this is a very small slide that I've created of startup know-how. So when you have an idea, as we have discussed, that okay, what are the challenges that we face, what are the opportunities that we get. So before starting an idea, before starting a startup, you will face this kind of questions. Okay, I have an idea, I have explored all the possibilities. So whether I should launch a startup, whether it's too difficult to launch a startup, or what are the things that I require. And trust me, when you are on the internet googling yourself all this information, it can be very much mentally taxing, because you will find a lot of relevant and irrelevant articles, and you cannot organize all the data in one place. So this is the first challenge that we faced while starting a startup, because how to approach, how to register our startup, how to do everything from the scratch. Yeah. And this is very challenging, because we never had any experience of starting a startup. Of course, if this is your first time, most people will not have that much of experience. So that's why the first thing I want to convey is that it's not very difficult to launch a startup. Okay. You just need few elements, and as I have shared, your passion, your dedication. Okay. To launch a startup, and there are certain third-party things available in the market with which you can help yourself to register your startup. Okay. So market saturation. So as you know, that this startup industry has been growing in India since I think since 2000. The startup industry has been growing at a very exploding rate. Okay. So, and now 2022 is already on. People tend to think sometime, I think this session will stop in a while. So let me create another session, or maybe Mr. Sagar will create a session.
Yeah, this I think we can rejoin through the same link. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
So we can. I think you can continue. Yeah.
Okay,
if it disturbs, then I will again reset. Otherwise, I will just take the host feature and then again send the link.
Fine. Okay.
I think, yeah, we can again resume.
Yeah. So as I was earlier mentioning about market saturation, that whenever you have an idea and you launch your startup, people tend to think about that, okay, this idea may be too old, or maybe this idea is now saturated. What I mean by saturated is that this idea is too old to grow to a new potential and to earn me a great deal of returns. Because of course, when you are starting a startup, you need capital to run your startup, right? So ultimately, you have to think about what is the potential of this startup, how much you can generate capital from this startup, right? So this type of questions often comes to your mind, that okay, there may be saturation in the market, so I should not have this idea. Maybe I should move on to next idea. So but that is not entirely true, because we have examples again in this sphere, that people have actually succeeded well, and I must say that they have succeeded exceedingly well, even there was already solutions in the market and saturation in the market. For example, take Paytm. Okay, when Paytm before Paytm, there were already websites like Freecharge, I think, if I'm not wrong, and other other websites which were catering to the recharge of the mobile, right? So Paytm started their market model as a mobile recharge option, like from recharge model. Okay, because Paytm brought everything from the retail shop to the online version. Okay, it was Paytm who did all that, because nowadays everyone is doing that. Amazon Pay, take it, Google Pay, everyone from every sphere you can recharge your mobile, right? But the Paytm was the first Paytm was the first organization who actually allowed that thing to happen. But before that, there was already thing existing in the market. It was very convenient for the people to go to a nearby store and recharge your mobile, right? I mean, literally recharge stores were all around your neighboring places. It was not that difficult to recharge your mobile. But then Paytm took that bold step to make it everything online, right? So this signifies that a saturation may not be entirely I mean, if a market is saturated, it may not be entirely true that you don't have the potential to succeed. Okay, so then Paytm converted its model to payment model when Uber, the car rental company, listed it as their payment model. You could drive with Uber, having the option to pay through Paytm, right? So that was one idea. That was one example of that saturation doesn't need to be doesn't have to be an obstacle for your product launch. Second, I can give an example of Swiggy. Okay, that's everyone knows about Swiggy most probably, and everyone knows that Zomato was also there when Swiggy was launched. So in fact, Zomato was launched almost 6 years prior to Swiggy. And Zomato, and it's not like that Zomato was not successful. Zomato, the earlier concept of Zomato was a little bit towards restaurant model, like business listing and restaurant model, but then it changed their model to food delivery also. So Swiggy came late, but Swiggy acquired a greater proportion of market share than Zomato did. Okay, and Swiggy did that just within, I think, 4 years of its launch. So even though there was a lot of saturation in the market with Zomato and other companies already there existing in the restaurant industry, Swiggy disrupted the industry with the help of its innovative low cost transaction fees, low cost delivery cost, and low cost your food services, and attractive discounts often. Okay, and so with that, I want to convey this idea that this all things which people often think about before doing anything, that market is saturated, maybe my ideas are not that good, or I need to convert to a new idea. These all are myths. You don't have to necessarily think in that line. If your idea has the potential and if you are dedicated, you can actually make your startup successful. Moving on to next slide, I want to convey a little bit of the process of for the people involved. Like whenever you want to launch a startup, what are the things you basically have to do? Okay, this would require actually a few things, and all these things are readily available on the internet. Okay, the launching a startup, registering a startup has never become easy. So excuse me. So with that, the first thing that you need is basically third-party legal services. If you are not yourself capable to do everything on your own, like the legal services, to register yourself, because you can do it actually yourself, but then it comes with a lot of hassle. Okay, so whenever you want to launch a startup, the first thing that should come to your mind, okay, what are the third-party legal services that can help me to register for the startup? Because a startup needs to be registered under Ministry of Corporate Affairs before launching a startup. Of course, if the model is a little bit different, that's a different deal. Okay, so there are countless examples of third-party legal services you can find online who can help you with that. The second thing that you want to do is, if your product needs a trademark, or if your product needs to be a brand, because many people launch a startup without a brand. Okay, so a brand is essential for its identity. It's just a sophisticated name of your identity. Whenever we see the logo of Mercedes, it's a brand, right? So a logo of Audi, maybe it's a brand. So if you have your product ready with you, then you need to register your brand for the future needs. Because when you register your brand, or when you register your trademark, no one can claim later for that brand or for that product actually belonging to your property rights. Next thing, which is optional, is GST registration. There are certain provisions in the industry that if your turnover is more than 20 lakhs, you need to apply for you have to apply for GST registration, but that comes definitely with optional thing. So your GST registration is optional. You can do it or you may not do it. And then when you are completed with all those things, the next thing that you need probably for your product, if you need a website, is the whole website plan. Okay, and we encountered few things earlier which were very difficult to explain, because whenever we want to launch a website or we want to launch a startup, the website is the first thing that actually allows you to interact with consumer and you. Okay, so nowadays 99%, I would say 99%, because most of the business nowadays or any startup has their website, even though they don't need website to interact. Okay, so a website can help you with that, and a website will help you with all the exposures, because if you have a website, the customer can direct to you through social media platforms. So a website is not very difficult to create nowadays. You can go to any third-party services to create a website, or a freelancer who has some sort of experience and background in website creation. You can consult them for your website, and the cost is not very necessarily high. The costs are really minimal. Because there are models now which are called Wix and WordPress models, which can help you with creating a template type of website, right? So you don't have to go from the scratch actually to build a scratch code and then create a website. And last but not the least is the exposure through social media. Social media has plays a very important role to create an awareness of your brand, to expose your brand towards a newer and positive fights. Okay, so these are the few social media handles that you can have: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. They all are a little bit of different platforms, and their target audience are a little bit different. So you need to ensure that your social media exposure is really updated and up to the market, because this is how consumers will know about you. Okay, the print media, the television media, this comes later, but this thing comes sooner, because these are the cheapest form of influencer and marketing strategies that you can have to promote your startup. With that, I want to share our story now, like where we all began and where it all started. So you can see on the left side that this was our first product that we call it as a gi. A gi is basically a Japanese version of uniform. So as earlier stated in the introduction, that our company belonged to the martial art industry actually. So this is one form of uniform which is used by Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu martial art, and it is called a gi. This was our first product in the market. But before coming to this product, we had few problems. And what was those problems is actually it was a very interesting story, because one of my friend, who is the other co-founder of the startup, he was training in Bangalore in this area, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and they often require the uniforms to be used because while practicing. So it all started from that they have, because it was that gis or that uniform was not available initially in the Indian market. You have to import it, or you may have to tell someone who is living in the abroad and that to get it from there, and then you have to wait for at least 6 months to get your product in that way. What happens, and it actually happened, that my friend who ordered a uniform, he forgot that he ordered a uniform, because that uniform was delivered to him after 1 year, when he said to his friend that, okay, while you coming back from US, you need to get me this gi for me. So he actually forgot that he ordered that gi. So these were the problems he was encountering basically to get the uniform. This was the first accessibility problem that we were encountering. Second problem was the price issue. Whenever you want to import this uniform from abroad, it cost way more than you can afford. Mostly people can afford, because it was coming at around, I think, 18,000 or 19,000 if you have to import it from outside. And 18,000 for a uniform was very difficult for any consumer to give, because this is definitely a perishable product. It has wear and tears, so it will run off after like maybe 2 years or 3 years or maybe 4 years. Okay, so 18,000 of a product is very unreasonable in the industry. And then we thought of this problem, and then we brainstorm it. Okay, if we cannot solve this problem, then it has to be something that we can at least mitigate the risks involved or mitigate the cost involved. Then that brainstorming and the approach started. So we started researching, okay, how can we get these uniforms at a very reasonable cost, at a very earliest period possible. Okay, so and then we started exploring different vendors in India, and I think in the initial period we did not venture Indian vendors too much, because we were of the thought that this may not be readily available in India, and that's why we have not got any uniforms. So we started exploring on the foreign websites, maybe a few Alibaba websites, and then we found that Pakistan actually, which is a very small country compared to India, and China and Singapore, they all make this kind of uniforms. And then we started contacting them, and then the transaction happened, and that's how the first problem that we faced, we were able to come to a solution that, okay, if we have to solve this problem, we can get it from vendors which are abroad at a reasonable cost without incurring the unaffordable cost. Okay, so then we started everything, compiling, organizing data and all, and then we thought about, okay, what is the cheapest possible way to get these uniforms from abroad. So then we contacted Pakistan, which was the major producer of these uniforms. And when we contacted Pakistan, it was very cheap back then, and we were able to get some sample of uniforms at a very reasonable cost. And then actually the challenges started. The first challenges that we faced was that first consignment from Pakistan. Whenever you import something from any abroad country, then you have to clear a custom tax. And our consignment was held in the custom. Fortunately, my friend was there, and my friend actually went to the airport, where he was told that your consignment needs a clearance, for which there are procedures, legal procedures. And then we contacted third party people, and who help us with the consignment clearance, and then we were able to clear the consignment. But then the main struggle happened, that was a very big consignment. The package to be delivered was very big, and he did not have any logistic services with him available. So letting his ego that he's the co-founder of the startup, he actually called that third party guy, and he actually called him that to tow his consignment at least to the nearest taxi stand that he can carry. Okay, so there was that challenge that we first faced. Why I'm telling you this is because if you are dedicated about your startup, if you are passionate about your startup, you let go of your ego that you are the founder or co-founder of your startup. Why should you bother about carrying a consignment which is too heavy, or which is too labor intensive, and which you can shed some few bucks, and then you can do it with the help of other people. But then we did not think like this at the initial period, because money was a big constraint for us. We had to depend a lot on our source of income to invest in our startup. Okay, so there was first our struggle with ourselves, to let go of our ego that we are founders. We should not be doing our consignment from airport to the nearest taxi stand. But then we let go of those egos. The second challenge that we faced was the Pulwama incident. As you know that this incident happened between India and Pakistan, when there was some sort of clashes among the air forces, and suddenly India raised the custom tax to 200%, anything that was coming from Pakistan. So what it means basically, that if your consignment, if your package cost 10,000 rupees from Pakistan to get it delivered to India, now you have to pay 30,000 rupees in order to get the same consignment, okay, same quantity of consignment. And this was a very unfeasible thing for us, because ultimately, suppose if you want to sell your product at a little bit of margin, you have to triple your cost price to the consumers, which was again back to the square one. If we charge them at the same rate that we are getting it, then there are no profits, right? Then we face that challenges. But then, as I said earlier, that there was some opportunities also involved in those challenges, because it led us to think very hard and very deep dive into the possibilities that we could have, because our consignment from abroad was difficult now, and we have to think about how we can make this possible in India itself. And then all those stories started when I was traveling in a metro and in Delhi, actually in CCD, while I was reading a newspaper. I carry with myself actually an Economic Times whenever I travel. So I was sipping my coffee early in the morning, and I just ran into this article which stated something like this, that India exports of cotton will grow by 20% year on year. Then I read that article, and then I came to know about, which is a very common knowledge, that India is actually one of the 3 largest producer of cotton, okay, in the world. So when that idea, when I read that thing, an idea struck my mind. Okay, if India is a big exporter of cotton and our uniform are made of cotton, why it is not possible to make those products in India? And then we started exploring. Then the whole 6 months of traveling on and off throughout the whole India, looking for vendors, looking for people who can manufacture, because we did not have any tailoring experience. So we definitely have to look for people who actually could make for us. Then we started with all those travels on and off. And then finally we could find few people who were actually passionate enough to experiment these things with us. And then we started our first made in India product back in 2019. So the idea behind this is, looking back, if we can if we can see from here, that there were of course a lot of challenges that we faced while drawing our first product. Even those were the first initial days where we were trying to launch a product, and before that we were facing so many challenges. But then it forced us to see for the opportunities in the future. Okay, and now looking back, we can see that okay, now we have more control over the quality of our products, we have more control over the delivery of our products, we have more control over the price that we want to handle. So with that, what I want to say is that challenges will be there in the startup, but then you have to look for the opportunities that you can have. Okay, so this is a small slide stating who are we actually. So as Mr. Sagar already deliberated that we are the first exclusive store for martial art needs. We actually when we started this thing, we started with a one sport which is called Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then we started venturing out into other sports like MMA, and we have other sports in our pipeline like yoga and running and general athletics, which will be coming in few years or few months maybe. And what our vision is basically to cater to customers' health and fitness through their training needs. You know, if you are an athlete, if you are a sport enthusiast, you often have to think about good quality things at reasonable cost. So if we are there and if we are the exclusive store, you don't have to think about that you can buy this much at this much of cost. You don't have to unnecessarily think all of those hassles that we went through while we were training and we were in the earlier period. Okay, so now our vision is basically to cater to greater customer needs, like in terms of overall health and fitness. Our team basically consists of me and my partner. We both are co-founders of this startup. and we both hold expertise in martial arts. We had our black belt back in 2012 when we were practicing karate. We also had some experience in other combat sports. Okay, you can visit our website through our link, which is available in the slide. So this is a sample of our products that we have right currently. These are basically kimonos, which we call agi, actually uniforms, and these are fingertips. And we have in our pipeline a few of the products that we are launching very soon, like t-shirts, shorts, training journal, MMA products, and athlete bag. And these are the current products that we have. These are the actually uniform that we wear during the practice. Training mats, you obviously know, and these are the rash guards. Rash guards are basically a kind of tight fit which you wear inside, like how does the footballer or any swimmer wears, so that to help you prevent any bruises or any rashes that you get while practicing. This is a small glimpse of our customers who are very happy with the price and the quality that we deliver to them, because we are very proud to say that the thing that people used to get at 17 or 18,000, we just charge them 5,800 rupees. It's less than even 6,000, and it is almost 1/3 of the price that they were getting at. So of course our margin is very little here, but we never thought about profit too much. We first had this vision that we want to launch our startup with a good community backed project and all, and after building this startup we will then explore the other ventures and all. So these are a small glimpse of our startup customers, first initial customers who are very happy with our products. With that, I would like to conclude my slides with a quote by Albert Einstein, who famously said that we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. This is very essential, because if a problem is there, and if a problem is there and it needs a solution, the same thinking cannot be applied, because you have to level up your thinking to come with a better solution. Okay, and and these are the contact details of our website and all of our startup. You may contact us through the number and email provided. And thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. I hope that through my little bit of 4 years of experience, startup experience, and challenges and opportunities, I was able to at least give you some insights about the startup idea, problem solving, and ideation. And I hope that many aspiring people will definitely gain some insights from this, and it will help in their journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Parash. It was indeed a very enlightening talk where you shared your journey while creating your startup. Now the session is open for discussion, and I would like to request students now to interact with Mr. Parash if any query they have, because this ultimately session is for students only, to motivate them regarding innovation and startups and similar things. Yeah, students, please ask your question one by one, okay? Or you can type a question in the chat box. Yeah. Yes, you can chat your query otherwise here in the chat box.
How can
So
we
one
promote
question is, how
sales?
can we promote sales? Yeah.
Yeah. So for promoting sales, basically, you have a lot of influencer plans. Like nowadays you can see in social media, like many celebrities in the same industry. Like suppose take for example Mahendra Singh Dhoni. Okay. He's this he's a cricket player, and whenever he tries to promote anything related to the cricket industry, it's kind of a market fit come advertisement fit for the product, because nowadays people are more aware that any celebrity promoting anything out of their own league, it's basically an advertisement. So whenever you want to promote sales, you basically have to think through these terms, that through you have to promote things. Sorry for the interruption. You have to promote things for the a few things, like the first thing that you have to do is to identify, like, what are the gaps that you are facing while boosting your sales. And if you can identify those gaps, you have to identify that, okay, whether it is related to your marketing thing, or whether it is related to your operational thing. If you can identify those things, then that answer becomes a little bit easy. Okay. You can promote your sales. If it's a marketing thing, then you can promote yourself through social media exposure, by creating influencer plan, by associating with other influencers and freelancers who can help you with establishing your identity in that industry. Similarly, if it's an operational thing, then you can smoothen your logistic issues. You can make more efficient your customer feedback issues, and you can make more efficient your price issues and all. So this is all how I think you can improve or boost your sales. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Any further questions? We are running short of time. So students, please ask your questions.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Sir, my query is, sir, what will be the best trade-out to offer the consumers or customers to face a wealthy competitor?
Sorry, can you come again, please?
Sir, my question is that what will be the best trade-out to offer the consumers or customers to face a wealthy competitor?
So if I can understand, you're basically asking what is the trade-off that you want to deliver to excel yourself in front of the competitors, right?
Yeah, a wealthy competitor.
Outrun the competitors, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So see, I mean, as I already described a little bit about this in the earlier slides, that when you have a competitor in your industry, the trade-off that you want to see is very much industry specific. Okay. Any consumer will want those three things that I already described, like a reasonable cost, a good quality, and a very high deliverable supply. Okay. So whenever you think of trade-offs, you have to think in these terms of three spheres, and the intersection among these three spheres will give you a very optimum product. Okay. So this question is rather a little bit subjective. I cannot explain you. I mean, I cannot give you a lot of detail. But if I can convince you with this, that if you are thinking of giving a trade-off to your consumer with respect to your competitors, think in terms of like what the competitors are giving customers right now. Okay, because you have to keep your competitors very close to you. You should know that, okay, this cost competitors, this much competitors, like 3 or 4 competitors are there in the market, and these people are providing these services to the client, to the customers. I should be able to provide this along with what I am thinking additionally. So this is the only thing that you need actually, whenever you want to have a trade-off. Okay. So keep in mind that a research into the competitor services is very essential to enable your startup, to attract more customers and to acquire more customer base. I hope you got your answer.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Any further query from students? How to choose an idea for a startup? Yeah. Quickly in 1 minute, Parash.
Yeah, so I already discussed that if you are choosing an idea for a startup, few things you need to very much remember, that whether that idea has any market fit or not, whether consumers really need that idea as a product. First thing you have to think on that, whether your product has a market fit or not. If people don't want your product, then definitely that idea will not sustain in the longer term. Second thing, you want to see that whether there are any other people who have done this idea before, or if not, then what are the challenges involved, and if yes, why they have failed. Okay, so answering those questions, I think, will get you more close to your idea that you want for your startup. Okay, so yeah, this is all I can say on the top of my mind right now.
Yeah, I think if students have any further query, they can email to Paras also. He has already shared with you. One more question we have. How do I determine whether I am capable of starting a business? What is the biggest risk to the company?
You don't have to you don't have to determine. I already told in the initial that if you have an idea, you have to execute it and to know that whether you are capable or not. Until and unless you walk in that boots, you will never know that whether you are capable of it. So my suggestion is that if you have an idea, execute it from a little bit from this like with a little bit of capital, less capital than required, and then you see what are the challenges that you will face. It will help you then to make a more a more well-defined decision. Yeah, I think it's less than a minute left.
Yeah, I think now I will request. I think there is no further query. If link snaps, then I think we will reconnect. I will request Pulak to give vote of thanks. And Dr. Pulak. Pulak, can you hear me?
So
yeah, I can hear you. I think it will 1 minute will be over. Let me try.
Otherwise, we can.
Okay.
Yeah. Please try.
Good afternoon to all. Let